So, when you think about the universe, or what might be out in space, we know that we have our sun, because when we look up in the night sky, or the day sky, excuse me, we can see our sun. Same thing with our moon. We know it's there every night because we can see it. But if you haven't thought about what other kinds of things that are out in our universe, besides the stars, you'll be amazed of what kind of cool things you may find. Let's talk about those in further detail. Okay, so let's talk about what kinds of things we can find in our solar system. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go with Earth and the solar system. So let's talk about what kinds of things we can find there. Now, as I am writing, if you see me put boxes around anything, boxed items, they can be seen with the naked eye. Naked eye meaning you don't need a telescope or anything to see it. You can look up in the night sky and you can see it. So with Earth and our solar system, one of the things that we have are planets. We can look up and we can see different planets. So there are 8 planets and dwarf planets. And planets, dwarf planets, so I'm going to put a little arrow like this. We call those Plutoids. Plutoids. And I'm going to put another arrow. So like Pluto. Really, really small. And of our planets, we have Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, that's how you say that, not your anus, weirdos, Uranus, and Neptune. All of these in which we can see with the naked eye. Except for these two, they're too far away. We can't see those. The depth perception on these two, so I'm gonna go like that. Depth perception for our eyes is too hard. We can't see it, it's too far away. Okay, so that's the first thing that we'll see. The second thing, we have our sun. We all can see the sun. We know it's there. The third thing, we have moons, or what we call natural satellites. We can see moons, okay? Fourth thing that we can see are asteroids, or sometimes they're called minor planets. And a perfect example of this, even though sometimes those are a little hard to see, asteroids are actually bigger, and minor planets are going to be in the asteroid belt. In the asteroid belt. And the asteroid belt is between Mars and Jupiter. I put Jupiter first. Between Jupiter and Mars, same thing. That's 4. What's the 5th thing? What else can we see? We can see comets. There was actually a comet over the summer. Comet Neowise. It was very cool. Big old streak in the sky. The 6th thing is the Kuiper Belt. Kuiper Belt objects in the sky. So this is Kuiper. I'm going to go like this. Really stress that I. Kuiper belts. These are objects that are past Neptune, so they're really far away. And a perfect example is Pluto of Kuiper belt objects. What else can we see? We can see meteors, meteorites, and meteoroids. So we can see meteors and we can see meteorites. Well, what's the difference? There is a big difference between all three of these. So I'm going to write, they're the same thing under different situations. All right, so meteors is when it's burning up in the sky. Burning up. Meteorites are on the ground. And meteoroids are in space. And these ones are smaller. And the last thing for Earth and the solar system, number 8, are micrometeoroids. Also known as space dust. And we can see that too. The next thing that we have is the Milky Way Galaxy. We've all heard of the Milky Way Galaxy. Or hopefully we've heard of the Milky Way, as in stars, not the candy bar. Even though the candy bar is kind of good. So under our Milky Way Galaxy, we can find exoplanets. Well, what are exoplanets? Exoplanets are planets that orbit other stars in other solar systems. Okay. Second thing are stars. Remember, anything in a red box is something that we can see. We can see stars, the closest one being the sun. What else can we find? We can find black holes. Now, black holes are very heavy. I'm going to put heavy object. They are equivalent to 400 million suns in weight. Translation, black holes are massive. Massive things. What else? We have clusters. Clusters are stars, and we can see them. There are 3 types. There are 3 types of clusters. We have open clusters, also known as galactic clusters, which means they have anywhere from 12 to about 1,000 stars. Okay, so that was the first one. The second one are going to be what we call globular clusters. Globular clusters. And those are going to be 50,000. So I'm going to put a K. The K means 1,000. So 50,000 to about 1 million. That's a lot. And the third one, we call them an association. That's just what we call them. So with the association, those are dozens of brand new stars traveling together. Okay, what else? What else can we find up there? We can find nebula. Now we could see nebula. If you have really good eyes, you can definitely see them. Well, what is a nebula? What is that? Those are clouds. They're clouds of gas or dust, or both. Okay, and they are typically categorized by shape. Okay, so we have one, diffuse. Diffuse, which means they're irregular in shape. So they look funny. And the second one, planetary nebula. These ones are not related to planets, just to make that clear. And they're also categorized by their brightness. So we have bright nebula, just like it sounds. We can see it. And we have dark nebula, which block light. Okay, and the last thing is extragalactic universe, or anything that is out past our galaxy. So the first thing, of course, are going to be galaxies. And remember, we can see galaxies with the naked eye. We can see the Andromeda, and we can see the Milky Way Galaxy. And Milky Way as in the galaxy, not the candy bar, even though the candy bar is pretty good. We have groups or clusters of galaxies. And our Milky Way, the Milky Way is in what we call the local group. Okay, third thing that we have, we call them clusters of clusters. Clusters of clusters, also known as a supercluster. Which just means there's a lot of things together.